here are my top 5 builds that I've been using for threes. I'm gonna be going over my mindset and playstyle for threes and why these builds give me that edge while I'm on the ice. Before we begin, I want to shout out my buddy Chris as he helped me design some of these builds to maximize their purpose on the ice. He's part of 91 mile per hour slap shots, a top 100 team, close to top 50. So he knows exactly what he's doing, and big thanks to him. I made some minor tweaks throughout the builds, plus one big one that I'm going to discuss as we get into this. The first build is a puck moving defenseman. This is an offensive, like if you're going to play winger with this build, this is what I have set. I like height and weight. I tried the 160 approach. I honestly like using 199, but Elite Edges is a god tier zone ability that I think everybody should have on their builds, especially if you want to be super quick on the ice. 1T magnetic is what I have set here. This is just typical threes approach, right? Magnetic is very useful. You want to have that in all your offensive builds mainly. 1T though is specific to our playstyle while we're playing threes. This is more of what top teams typically look for, is the one-timer. So you want to be able to control the puck and set up your teammate with a 1T. And this build allows you to do that while also receiving that, right? So Elite Edges being able to make those quick turns, control the puck, 1T when somebody passes it to you, and obviously magnetic to soak in those passes. That's what you need. As far as the two boosts, offensive threat and power skating. These are things that I adjusted myself. I'm able to get 91 speed with this build. Me personally, though, I made the adjustment for more balance. I honestly personally like a balance between, you know, speed, balance, and agility. All that being high, right? Obviously, agility being low. The thing is here, you got Elite Edges on, so that pretty much cancels it out. You can lower some of your agility, put it back into balance, so you can soak up a little bit more of the hits that are thrown your way. It wouldn't do very well against power forwards, though, but regardless, you can use it against some of them shorter builds that try to use their weak bodies to hit you, right? That's the idea behind it. Every time I used it, it was pretty good for me. This is why I have it set like that. Now, I want to get into the major change between my build and Chris. He has acceleration maxed out. Me personally, I don't think acceleration makes a difference in this game. I know back in January, March, I had this up all the way. That was a mistake on me. I had thought, right, with the tuner updates and things like that, it seemed like acceleration mattered, but that is a mistake on me. Me personally, I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think it ever made a difference going into this year, right? So if anybody had it up because of me, I apologize to you, but honestly, if you think acceleration makes a difference, then have it up. If you don't, then have it low. I did a poll on this, actually, and it was actually surprising. It was about 50-50. It's actually pretty crazy if you think about it. If you think it matters, then have it up. If you don't, then have it down. That's pretty much the idea there. I have it down. I don't think it matters, so I'm allowed to put more points into power, puck control, and endurance if I feel like it, but I can manage my endurance pretty well. I mean, it's pretty low in the 70s, right? High 70s, actually. But if you can glide at the right times, take those couple deep breaths throughout the game, then managing your stamina shouldn't be an issue here. As far as this category here, passing is low. I personally think if you can have a forehand pass and you're looking at your teammate, you can make pretty much any pass to him. Obviously, the passing in this game is still a little bit off. So if you feel like you need higher passing, then by all means, raise this up. Offensive threat allows me to put this at 90, which is pretty good for a puck moving defenseman. Body checking is at 77. It was at 80 before, right? But me personally, I don't really throw too many hits in there, but when I want to hit, this allows me to do so. Stick checking, I've been doing pretty well with 80, so it's not bad having it low. And then defensive awareness, same deal. It's at 84. I feel comfortable with this at 84. It works well for me. Everything else is by all means up to you. Strength being high, that allows me, I think you need that for, I think, the power skating, which is why I have it up. And now getting into the lockdown Teal position that you want to have. I'm honestly not going to use defensive defenseman anymore. I mean, it's not really worth using it. You need a build that you're comfortable with playing defense and is locked down. So puck puck moving defenseman works pretty well for me. This is the only Teal defenseman build that I'm ever going to use for the remainder of this year. I'm not going to make any more tweaks to it. Unless, again, minor tweaks. But I'm not going to go to defensive defenseman just because I see 2 or 3 power forwards with truculence. I need a build that I can defend with, and I can do so with this build. Elite edges, again, you're going to see that on pretty much everybody's build, whether it be a zone ability or a superstar ability. But me personally, I like it as a zone ability. Quick pick is my personal thing I like. It just allows me to defend just a little bit better, especially those out of reach passes. Obviously, quick pick comes in handy there for that, and I could still be a threat in the offensive zone if somebody does set me up for a one-timer. So having 1T, this makes it a little more versatile, but it's still on the defensive side of things. Positional IQ and power skating once again. And this is the exact same setup that I have for the offensive puck moving defenseman. 91 speed, 77 balance, and 79 agility. This all being the same, and then getting to here is, again, you know, it's lower passing. I lower the offensive awareness, so I put some of these points back into my defensive awareness just to be a little bit better. Gives me that little bit more of an edge when I am defending. 84 with the stick checking works well for me. 77 body checking, again, works well for me. And then everything is pretty much the exact same. Higher discipline, that's pretty much what you want. You're going to be poke checking a lot, going for hits, things like that. You don't want to be getting those bad penalties. But again, if you feel like you're comfortable with a lower discipline, you can put that back into deking by all means. This is my lockdown defenseman build. I've been making some minor tweaks along the way, but this is pretty much mainly what the setup is going to be whenever I'm playing threes as the Teal position. Moving on to offense, this is the mainly offensive build, your forechecker class, right? Blind forechecker, I call it. Sniper 6'1", 194. I've got 1T for the zone ability. This is honestly a god tier ability. I mean, you could pretty much get one-timers from a lot of different areas, and there's some glitches with it as well that benefit you in being able to take a nice, powerful one-timer. This is a deadly ability. And then for the 2 superstar abilities, you got close quarters. Again, sniper, you want to put the puck in the back of the net. Elite edges to make those quick moves. You can't get elite edges as a zone, but even if you could, I would still take 1T over that, because you're going to have teammates try and set you up for a one-timer. If you're a mainly offensive guy, you want to be able to put the puck in the back of the net consistently. 1T as a zone allows you to do that. Close quarters allows you to do that as well. Control passing and shooting threat. This allows my passing to be a little bit higher to set up my teammates as well. And offensive awareness being 95 is pretty god tier. Again, you're trying to score, so you need this as high as possible. It just gives you that edge in the offensive zone over other players. And you see here, you're not going to be able to defend. So this is why you just put yourself at the point with this class. You're that forechecker whenever the Teal guy is trying to break it out for the other team. You're just trying to create havoc wherever you can. But by all means, you're not trying to successfully defend. You're just trying to get in their way. It's pretty much what this class allows you to do defensively. But offensively, you're a pretty solid threat. And this class helps you with that. Now, obviously, here is some minor tweaks, right? I'm not able to get 91 speed, but still 90 speed. It's not really much of a big difference at all, if any. Balance at 75, so a little bit lower. Agility has to be raised so you can get elite edges. And then here, exactly the same thing. Acceleration needs to be 82 in order to get elite edges. Everything else, 93 slap shot power. Combine that with 1T. I mean, if you can hit the net, you're going to hit the net big time. You're going to pull a hole through the damn net is what this will allow you to do. First shot power being 87 is high as well. Accuracies are low 80s, but that doesn't make a difference too much. 89 puck control. You do not have magnetic. That's the only downside to this build. If you were to have magnetic, I would probably take out elite edges. This doesn't give you a big boost to your agility, but it does give you just a little bit, a slight increase, right? That's the whole purpose of it being a gray ability. So if you need magnetic, I would probably take out elite edges here. And then here, I don't play center for this, but if I were to, I would have to obviously lower my deking and apply that back to faceoffs. Discipline is very low. You can even lower this even more. Again, you're not going to try to defend very well, but you need to, at least when you do try to go for a poke track or something like that, you're not going to get a penalty, right? Just make sure that this is high enough so that you don't get a penalty. And now getting into my centerman build, right? The puck moving offensive build that I had, the first one that I showed, that is when I'm playing winger. This is when I'm playing center. Everything is almost the exact same, honestly. Again, just small minor tweaks that this class has compared to the puck moving defenseman. Everything is the exact same, and honestly, that I have. The only difference here is that my passing is a little bit higher. Offensive awareness is a little bit lower. Defensive awareness is a little bit lower as well. That's the only difference, honestly. That and also the face-offs. But again, very similar to the puck-moving defenseman class that I have. So this is a class that I would use when I'm playing center. And the last class that I have, if I were to go big, I feel like you need to have at least one of these builds, right? The power forward build. It being a bigger class, but it's lower height and weight, as low as you can go. 6'2", 210. I do not believe in truculence, nor is it even close to my playstyle anyway. I like being able to soak in those hits when guys try to hit me. Unstoppable force, as the zone ability allows you to do that. It doesn't work as effective, right, against the truculence, but if you can manage to turn away from them and have them put their hand on you, get that little side nudge, maybe it's a glancing off hit, you can actually negate the animation altogether. Unstoppable force does help with that. Magnetic, obviously, and 1T here. 1T is on all my classes, if you can see. It is how we play threes, in my opinion. That's what we typically look for in the offensive zone. So that's why it's on every single build. If you would rather have close quarters, then by all means put that on. But typically, close quarters, 1T are your two main shooting abilities that you're going to have for threes. If you're playing against human goalies, you can even throw on Heat Seeker. You see that a lot in sixes, but you can still do it in threes if you want to surprise the goaltender sometimes with those point shots. But typically, you look for one-timers and threes. So typically, 1T is ability that you're going to want to have on. Positional IQ, durable skating. This allows for your speed to get as high as 87. You can't go any higher than this. Now, I did try throwing on elite edges in replacement of magnetic. But the thing is, in order to get elite edges, you need to raise your agility and lower your balance. When I did that, this was at a 78. While this would be at 82. The problem is, Unstoppable Force really doesn't help much with this being really low. And with further testing, it didn't seem like elite edges really helped that much anyway. The agility being in the mid-70s didn't really make a difference, in my opinion. Which is why you don't really need it for the sniper class either. If you feel like you don't want to run that, if you feel like it also doesn't make a difference, put on magnetic and replace it for elite edges for the sniper. But same thing here. I don't think it makes a difference. If you want to have elite edges, you're going to be forced to lower your balance. But I think having almost mid-80s for the balance plus Unstoppable Force does give you that edge over guys trying to hit you. So you can actually withstand a lot, in my opinion. As long as you can make those quick turns every now and then. Yeah, this class is pretty deadly against anybody trying to hit you. Then in here, you have passing at 85. It's the exact same as the offensive puck moving defenseman class that I just showed in the beginning. It's pretty low with the offensive awareness. It's not a big deal, right? 86. It's not as good as it can be, but the thing is, you're trying to be versatile with this class. 80 body checking, 80 stick checking, and 80 defensive awareness. It's actually pretty good and solid as being that class that can play offense and defense. Everything else, though, is completely up to you. Again, I personally have this set to if I'm going to play center. That's why the faceoffs is up there. But this is a pretty good class, right? If you're playing against two or more power forwards and you want to try and match them, this would be the class that I would use. Again, it fits my playstyle. I don't typically go for hits. That's why I don't run truculence. If you want to replace Unstoppable Force with truculence, you can. And maybe even raise some of the body checking if you feel. But honestly, this is the way I play. I don't like going for hits 24/7. When I'm out there, I like to rely on my position, the poke check, and very rarely go for those hits when I see it. And I think having this the way it is, it works well for me. And I like to be able to fight against those guys with truculence. So an Unstoppable Force with the mid-80s balance works pretty well for me. So these are my 5 builds that I use whenever I'm playing 3v3, all tuned to my play style and how my team sets up in the offensive zone and defensively as well. If you do not like these builds, I have a March builds video that I combined other possible builds that you can try out if you wanted to. It's also in the top right, so you can go check that out if you want. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.